Hello, Widow family. Thank you so much for joining us. As all of these conversations are about, there are ways and resources to help you heal from your loss, heal as you go through every day, what I call widow chores, whether that's, financial situations or a state or all of the stuff that we have to muddle through, but with all of that stuff comes the emotional side of things, and living this new life and this new identity and the sadness and the deep grief that exists. And as I often say, and as our experts and resources often say, that grief doesn't just live in your mind, it lives in your body as well. And so I am really excited to have my friend Jill with me, who joined me on my fall widow wellness retreat. She led a beautiful session and really has a lot to offer this community. And so I will turn it over to her to let her introduce herself and talk a little bit about what she does and why she does it.
Thank you, Jen. It's really great to see you again and be here. I have been a social worker for about 20 years, dating myself a little bit here, and I've been in private practice for about a decade. And I work with all sorts of people. I work with trauma, anxiety, grief. I've worked in hospice. And alongside that path, I also am an integrative healer and a sound healer. And I lead guided healings, guided meditations for all sorts of people. Anyone who's looking to feel better in their body, really.
And how, you use the word integrative, which I think is really, important. There's a place for traditional talk therapy, and then there's the kind of other side of it, which is this sound healing and the intuitive healing. Like, where have you found kind of the importance of that integration?
I actually find it in both places.
Okay.
So I these were two parallel paths for a really long time. And then something happened about, I don't know, probably around the pandemic, where I was doing therapy with people and we were doing it online. And it was like, wait a minute, you really need some healing work. And so I would expand it and we would start doing some guided healings or some, feeling stuff within your body, some somatic work. And at the same time, I'm doing healing work with people and they have emotions coming up and they have grief coming up and they're crying and they're emoting. And so they really just started to overlap. And now it's just, as you said, it's integrated. So I have about 12 different healing modalities. One of them is therapy. And when people come in for a session, they get whatever their body needs. I just follow their body's energy and their body's wisdom.
Yeah, I like that a lot because, I've noticed when, for example, I know we did this, I don't think you were there, but we did in the October event, we did something called Journey Dance.
Mhm.
And it was wonderful and everybody loved it. And I repeated it this time at my retreat that I just did. And only half the people could handle it because, like you said, the physical movement was bringing up so much emotion. And to be able, I wasn't, able to, I'm not a therapist or a coach or, I wasn't necessarily like they ended up going off in groups and talking to each other and talking through that. But like, you're right, like one sparks the other. And to be able to have both of those, trainings and tools in your toolbox is probably really helpful for your clients.
Yeah, because people don't realize that the emotion feeds into the physical and the physical feeds into the emotions. They're all connected. You know, we say mind, body, spirit. It's all one thing. It's what makes up a human being. We're all of them connected. So you can't have emotion without it affecting your physical body or something in your physical body that might not be attached to emotion. Right?
Yeah.
You think of even somebody, I mean, you're talking crying, somebody crying, like what does that do to your body when you're crying?
It,
Right? It's an
yeah,
emotional release, but it's also a very visceral physical release.
absolutely. Absolutely. So, you know, I didn't prep you for this. I apologize. But let's talk about meditation because I know that's a
Okay.
big part of your of what you do. Meditation is a big thing right now. I mean, I think you could even maybe call it a trend, I guess. There's all kinds of apps out there for guided meditation, but from your experience, what is the practice of meditation and why is it so important? And how does it, I guess the three part, what is it from your perspective? What is kind of like the importance of it and why does it help so much?
Okay. So
Just talk about meditation. We'll leave it at that. Forget about my
ironically,
questions.
it's all good. It's all
Just
good.
talk
We'll
about
get there.
meditation in general, because I think so many people are like, oh, I need to meditate, or I want to meditate, but like, do they really know what that means?
Well, a lot of people think that it's sitting in one place and closing your eyes and being with your breath. And that can be very challenging. It can be very stirring. It can be very difficult. I struggle with that, even though I lead people through guided meditations all the time. I struggle with sitting down and meditating. It is not my way.
Mhm.
So, meditation is really just getting us into a different state of consciousness,
Okay.
right? It's taking, I don't want to say taking control of the breath, but it's really allowing your body to settle in. I'm going to use the term parasympathetic, move into a parasympathetic nervous system, which is where we rest and digest.
Okay.
That, in my view, is really where we're all trying to get. We're trying to get out of the fight and flight,
Mhm.
and we're trying to rest and digest. And there are many different ways we can get into that. Yes, we can get into by clearing our mind and sitting in silence and in stillness. For a lot of us, especially people that are grieving, that might be really challenging. I
Yeah.
know for me, I need to go outside and I need to walk.
Mm.
The darker it is, the quieter it is, the better. If
Okay.
nobody's around, perfect. And it just clears my entire system. I can think better, my body moves better. I need the movement. For me, also sound works for me. If I am in a dysregulated state, I'll go play my flute.
Mm. Yeah.
And it brings me, the vibrations work with my system to bring me into a parasympathetic state. So when I can't get into wow, I just need to be calm and still, I use a tool to help me get there, whether it's walking, whether it's a flute, whether it's whistling or singing or whatever works for a person to get them out of an anxious state.
I think that's amazing. To kind of think of it as, meditation is to get yourself out of an anxious state. I know I talk about this a lot. I'm in recovery and I've been going to these Dharma recovery meetings, which are very based in the Buddhist,
Mhm.
ways. And I went to one last night and you have to meditate for 20 minutes at the beginning of it and it's silent. It's the kind that's really hard, like you said. Um, and I'm almost like becoming a little addicted to it because I'm like, I can do this. But just recognizing that there are different ways because I mean, it's really hard for me, and I think it's really hard for a lot of people, but finding
It
those things.
stirs up a lot of emotion.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And recognizing the thoughts that come in and out and all of that. But yes, no, the movement and I've heard like even scents, lighting a candle, like having a certain scent, brings you back down to a calmer state. Um, and when you're in that calmer state, how does that, what is the importance of that, I guess? I know that seems like a really simple kind of ignorant question, but
I mean, I don't think it's simple or ignorant.
okay.
I think it's important to talk about. I go back to the parasympathetic nervous system, right? It brings us into a state where our body can rest and digest, where we can digest emotions, where we can digest something somebody said, where we can digest our food, where we can allow our body to flow, allow the energy to flow through our bodies in a way where our body can now heal itself. It
Yeah,
can now re-regulate itself. Because our
right.
bodies are so wise. They know what to do. It's just we have all this stuff trapped in our tissues and in our systems that the energy can't flow and it doesn't allow our systems to do what it needs to do.
Yeah.
So I mean, for me, people will argue, right? Everybody's got a different way of meditating and a different idea of what the purpose is. For me, meditation is really to help our systems go back into balance.
No, that makes a lot of sense. You talk about energy and energy flow, and I know you do a lot of that as well. Tell me a little bit about, the importance of energy work. I've been doing it a lot lately, so I'm seeing the benefits, but just, from your perspective, I'd love to hear that.
Well, I think everybody approaches energy work differently. Each practitioner approaches it with their own lens and their own world experience. So we're each going to show up with you differently, and you're going to have a different experience. So if you're doing Reiki and you show up to like five different people, you're going to have a different experience because we all have a different relationship with that energy based on who we are, where we are, and what our journey has been. So, energy work really is, for me, it's connecting to, so if I were to work with you, it's connecting with the energy of your body and getting out of the way, getting me out of the way. And I say, all right, body, tell me what you need.
Mhm.
You're talking, I'm listening. What do you need? How do you need it? Where do we need to go? Because we get so stuck on the symptom. We're like, wow, I really, really have a headache. Can you just work on my head? And it's like that headache might not be coming from your head. It could be coming from a variety of different places. So, as an energy worker, we go, and I might start at your head because you have a headache, but I might be automatically drawn to a different part of your body because that's really where the root of it is. And so, in my point of view, energy work is getting to the root of whatever the problem is and helping that root release, shift, transform in the way that it needs to, not in the way that I feel like it needs to. That
Right.
makes sense.
And I imagine, for your clients, and again, I've experienced this, but that's like it's the most relieving, all of a sudden you realize your headache is gone. And it, not to your point, it's not because it's because we were able to find that. Do you find that in, do you find that people often get stuck in the same place? Like when you see clients over and over that they tend to have and blocks in certain places of their bodies, or is it different every time?
So in terms of healing work, I it for me it's different because if we get to the root and we clear up the root and we clear up this is where the integration piece comes in, right? So we're not just clearing up the root energetically, we're not just clearing it through your body, we're clearing it through your mind and your belief systems and the stories that you're telling yourself.
Okay.
So when we take that out, not take it out, when we transform that energy and we transform the belief systems, it doesn't show up in the same place.
That
That's
makes
not to say, I mean,
sense.
somebody might need work like two, three times, but for the most part, one time it will shift it. And the interesting thing that I find with my clients is that most of the time we have protective mechanisms around these memories, these parts, these emotions. And so we don't know what they are. And at the end, I tell people kind of what happened. And they're like, well, I don't remember any of that. I'm like, I won't, well, let me back up a second. I don't tell people the story. I don't get into the story because the story gets you stuck,
Mm, yeah,
right? So I'm like, this is the part of the body. This is kind of the age. This is around the theme is generally what I get. And my dog is being very vocal at the moment.
that's okay. I can hear her.
Okay.
We welcome all pets. Mine's snoring underneath me, so
And so so I tell people kind of what happens, and I'm like, if you're meant to know, once the healing finishes through your system, through all the layers of your system, through the physical body, the emotional, the mental, the spiritual, once it clears out, you will either have a dream about it or you'll be walking down the street and all of a sudden you're gonna be like, oh yeah, that's what happened. And you
that's really
find that
interesting.
I find that in a lot of different modalities too. They say that about cranial, if you've ever had craniosacral work, which is one of the modalities that I work with as well, when the issue releases from the tissues, the person often has a memory of what caused it in the first place.
That's so interesting. And I think because we all, we live in a society where we want to know things.
Mhm.
We want immediate, why are we like this? Why can't we get better? I hear this over and over from, people, what is it? What is that one thing that's going to make me better? In fact, I was talking to somebody earlier about it, and I think it's through the work that you do and the combination of these different things that start the healing process. There's no like immediate answer. Um,
Well, I actually have an immediate answer, which people probably won't like.
that's okay.
And it's just simple. Love yourself
Mm,
and do it more and more and more. And the more you do it, the closer you get to you. Once you completely and 100% love every aspect of yourself, even if it's that person that like starts crying in the middle of the supermarket, if you can love that part of you unconditionally, there's no healing left. You're
yeah,
done.
yeah.
The
I
rest of
love
it's
that
just
so much.
tools.
I love that so much. And I think it pairs with, giving yourself grace. Like, it's
Mhm.
okay. Feel the feelings. Like, it's okay. And as much as I say that phrase and sometimes it's like annoys me, it's true. Like,
Mhm.
I have to remind people all the time that like you got to be patient with yourself. And I think that ties really nicely with your message of love yourself. I love that very much. So, what are you doing right now? Like, what are you offering? Where, when, how? Like, what
Oh,
is, I know you're
I
all
don't know
over
when
the
this is
place,
coming
but
out.
like, I mean, yeah, exactly. Do what
So
is,
I do a monthly yoga nidra sound bath
okay.
at Burning Wheel. Burning Wheel is currently in Medfield. In July, I believe they're moving to Natick. I will
Oh,
still be offering
exciting.
the
Okay.
monthly Sunday yoga nidra sound bath.
Oh my gosh.
Um, Burning Wheel is a yoga studio. It's hot yoga, hot Pilates.
Okay.
Right now, I work out of their space in Medfield. I do my integrative healing there. I do my sound healing there. I can also do integrative healing virtually. There's a space I'm going to be going to in Medfield as well, where I'll be doing all those things in addition.
Tell me more about the virtual because not everybody can, who's listening to this can access these places.
So virtual is the only difference really from virtual to in person. In person, I use some of my sound instruments. I can't do that virtually. You won't hear, I mean, I could, but you won't necessarily hear it. Um, and it's not hands-on. But because energy doesn't need hands-on, I can still do a lot of the work hands-off. And we can do it one of two ways. Either is a guided healing where I'm literally talking you through everything that's happening and saying, does this resonate? How are you feeling? What's going on for you? Where are you feeling it in your body? So it can be an exchange, which some people actually really like. They like being part of the healing session. Some people like just drifting off. It depends on who you are and what you
Right.
want.
Right.
But for the people that want to drift off, I also allow that. So they will drift off as if they're on a table, right? They can just make themselves comfortable. They'll listen to music, we'll do the session, and then afterwards I'll tell them what happened as opposed to just narrating during.
Right. I love both of those. So where can people find you to learn more about you, work with you, all that good stuff?
My website is purplelotus.health. So feel free to find me there. I just a couple of months ago started the Healing Blueprint podcast. So feel free to check that out. It's on Apple and Spotify, and I'm kind of having fun with that. And for people that are interested in, it's not me talking for the most part, it's me having conversations with different healers who are experts in their modalities. So if you're interested in what resonates with me, that might be a really good resource for you. Um, yeah, and that's it. You can always send me an email, jillbriansky@gmail.com.
There you go. And we'll obviously have all of this information available to everyone as well. But I think more and more I will. I'm honest to a fault on here and everywhere else in my life. When I first lost Jack, I didn't really know about other modalities of wellness. I knew about yoga, and I knew about meditation. But and then when I learned about it, I didn't necessarily believe in it. This kind of energy healing, I was like, what is that? As I've gotten to know it better, I can say, from a personal perspective, that it's been transformational. I can also say that I have, since my retreats and some of my groups are wellness focused, and I do have different people come in doing different modalities. It's also transformational to other people too. So I know it's not just me. And obviously you run a whole business around it, so it's working. But to people out there that are skeptical, I recommend you try it. And like you said, try it with different, if it doesn't work with one person, there's somebody else who might resonate with you too. But thank you for sharing your wisdom and kind of really, talking to us. I think, for me, the most, the 2 points that I took away from our conversation the most is around the meditation and how it's whatever you need to bring you down to that parasympathetic state. Again, I think that people have this strict
Yeah.
definition of what meditation has to be. And so I think that's really helpful. And then I wrote it down over here. There's the love yourself. That's the answer. So thank you so much, Jill, for your time. And like I said, this will be available on Hope Hub for for anybody who wants to join Hope Hub. It's a free platform where you will find all sorts of resources and other widows to communicate with as you navigate this journey. And hopefully we'll connect soon on another project.
Yeah. Thanks, Jen.
Thank you.